The day I lost my dad, I lost myself. I had to take care of my kids, but praying for the day to just end, I started to just film myself in moments and talk about how I was feeling just to get it out somewhere. Waiting for bedtime so that I could take my life. I was raised with this: suicide was selfish, suicide was this, and I had heard that from very many different people. And I, as a little girl, have always been like a sad little girl. I have hated myself since I was in kindergarten. It was very shallow reasons for disliking myself. I didn't like myself because I wasn't pretty. I didn't like myself because I was annoying. I didn't like myself because I wasn't well liked. I wasn't bullied. I wasn't treated bad. I didn't have a terrible home life. I had friends, but I just hated myself. Even though I wasn't like bullied and whatever, little like negative things would just stick to my memory. A little boy in first grade telling me that I had bug eyes. Another boy yelling out the window, "You're ugly," when I was in 5th grade as I'm walking home to my friend's house after a football game. A boy that I thought had a crush on saying, "Oh my gosh, she's just so annoying. She just doesn't stop." Hearing my sister was the pretty sister, and "Oh, if I could be with your sister, I'd choose your sister." And having friends that were so cute and all these boys want to talk to, and they were talking to all these boys and I wasn't, and just being surrounded by like such vain reasons to dislike myself, but I did. And hearing and people constantly telling me, "Wow, you're just so annoying, you just don't stop talking, you just making little comments like that, jokes or whatever," and I could laugh about it, but I guess internalized it and started to be like, yeah, I'm so annoying and so awful. So I would go home every day and cry and talk about how I'm going to be different at school, and I'm not going to be weird, I'm not going to be loud, I'm not going to be whatever, I'm not going to, and then go to school and be weird and awkward. And in my head, while I'm doing those things, berating myself. Remember as a little girl going in the closet and grabbing a belt and putting it around my neck, then getting scared and stopping and going in my bed and then starting to pray that I'm too much of a wuss to take myself out. So Heavenly Father, can you just like not let me wake up? Started to pray almost every day. Please bless that I won't wake up. And there were spouts of not, and then spouts of doing it. So it was just very up and down throughout my life. And I wasn't really telling people about this because I knew I was too afraid to actually do anything, that the chances of me hurting myself was pretty low. And so I didn't want to frighten people with the things and make people worried about me. So I knew I needed to not like share that I wanted to die, because then people would be worried, but then also maybe people would say that I was doing it for attention. So I just didn't tell anyone, just in case there isn't anything after this life. That's what kept me from doing things to myself, was the fear of what if there isn't something. So I've dealt with that for a long time, of suicidal thoughts. Back to that night, I waited for my husband to get home, and then I put the kids down, and I remember I just kept waiting for him to fall asleep. I was like laying in bed and I was just thinking like, okay, when he goes to bed, when he goes to bed. And then once he fell asleep, I went into the car and I just sat there and I was crying and crying, and then I decided, okay, I'm just gonna film and talk.
I have just had a really hard time this last couple of weeks. I just realized that although I know I have people that care about me, I'm alone. And I just don't have the energy to keep trying. I have been hurt by people. And people hurt people. It's just like that happens in life. We say things we don't mean. We like hurt people's feelings. It's just like you get in fights or whatever. Or people like want to be there for you, but they're like overly aggressive about it. Or there's just lots of things. And I just realized that every time I get hurt, I end up feeling worse afterwards, because I feel guilty that whoever hurt me gets upset because of my reaction. Like, I'm honest. I say how I'm feeling. I say this is what. And I think sometimes I can be a little harsh and hurting people, and then I feel bad for being upset that they hurt me. I'm just done. I'm done hurting more and more, not just because of the fact that I'm hurting, but I'm hurting because I feel bad that I'm hurting other people. I'm hurting because, and I just want to be done. And when I realize that it's gotten to the point where I'm not, I have no one. Like, I do, but I don't. It's hard to explain. It's like, I have people that will talk, but it just doesn't ever work. It just doesn't ever feel good. It's never, and it's not their fault. It's not anyone's fault but my own. And I love these people and I care about these people, but I just know that everyone's life will be better without me. And I want everyone to be better. And I'm really trying to be rational because I know that as much as I say I'm done, the moment I end it, I probably will feel bad. But I was like counting down the time to put my kids to sleep. I'm just a terrible person and I'm better. Everyone's better off without me.
When people are sad and depressed and feel like sometimes it sounds like the best thing to do is to take yourself out because it would make everyone's life better. I completely convinced myself that everyone's life would be better, that my children are young enough that won't remember me, so it really won't affect them. My husband doesn't get loved in the way that his love languages are needed. He doesn't get treated as well as he should. He could get such a better wife, and my kids will get such a better mom. My family's all got their own things going on. Like, it really, my life doesn't affect anyone. So my ending of my life really is not that big of a deal. I sat in silence for a little bit, and I let myself get a little freaked out. And then I heard a little voice tell me, "Go wake up your husband." When I heard the voice, I fought it, and I was like, I'm not gonna wake him up. Like, he has work in the morning. It's 3 a.m. Like, he just needs to sleep. He never gets to sleep, whatever. And then I heard the voice again. So I slowly took myself back into the house, and I stood and looked at him for a little while. And then maybe a good 5 minutes passed. I woke him up, and I told him what I was planning to do. And it was good, and I felt better for a second. And that was what kept happening, is I kept feeling better for moments and then having guilt for feeling better because how could I already be over my dad? I'm tired of being okay and then not, in a matter of seconds, in a matter of words. And then when I'm not upset, feeling guilty that I'm upset. But I'm very lost right now. But then if I was sad, I was, am I milking this? No matter what, I couldn't feel good. I couldn't feel good if I was feeling happy, but I couldn't feel good if I was feeling sad. I just felt like crap no matter what because of my own mind. A little while later, I ended up finding out I was pregnant. And I felt really awful and terrible because my children have such a shitty mom. I wake up and I want to go to bed immediately. I wake up and I feed them and I take care of them. I do what I need to do with them, but I'm not doing any extra for them. I'm not making their lives any better. I'm literally the worst mom ever, and they deserve so much better. Why am I being blessed with getting to have a baby when other people are crying and praying for babies every single night, and I wasn't even trying, and I get pregnant? I'm in shock. And I feel kind of guilty. Even though I knew and know that I want to have another baby eventually, and I've had that feeling since my daughter was born, like immediately. And after Dad passed, people talk about seeing things and like hearing these people or seeing them or dreams or whatever. And I've been literally like, my dad had died and that was the end of it. Never saw anything, never heard anything, never felt anything from him. Twice after my dad passed away, I saw a little boy, and the little boy came up around like on my side of the bed. I saw a little boy like walk up, and it wasn't like a baby boy, it was like my son's age, and I thought it was him, and I was like, "Hi, buddy," and I like looked at it for a little bit, and then I like looked away for a second and to turn on my flashlight because it was dark, it was at night, and then he was gone. 3 days later, I started to have a panic attack in the middle of the night, and so I went to, we have like a basement, so I went to the bottom of the stairs, and I just like sat there and like was having a complete meltdown. And all of a sudden, on the top of the stairs, I see this like bright figure, and I couldn't point out any facial figures or anything, but it was like a figure, and it like ran down the stairs. And at first, it kind of scared me a little bit, and then I had this feeling as, oh, there was that little boy, and then I was fine. I'm struggling a little bit with what I believe in, like with life after death, because of the fact that it's just been nothing for me. I haven't felt anything. I believe in God when I'm struggling with is if there's something, because I didn't feel like there was something. Like people always say that you can feel their spirit with them and that they're not actually gone, and that's just not how it's been for me. But then with that little boy, I was like, okay, is that like maybe that I miscarried, or is that a different baby, since I've been feeling like I need to have a baby? But I've also been very aware that like I'm not in a great place mentally, and I want to be a good mom to my children. I'm not a fan of being pregnant. I don't like it. I'm very sick, but I was fine and everything was going well with this. I was starting to feel a little bit better. I was having a little bit more often of good days and not feeling as guilty for having good days. I had conversation about this feeling of, I feel like I'm a reminder of why Dad's gone. But had good conversations about like, you don't need to feel that way. Towards the end of October, it was right before my first appointment, I started to bleed a little bit. The moment I got pregnant, I had a feeling that it probably wasn't going to last because I was feeling too good, truthfully. And it just reminded me of my very first pregnancy that ended up in a miscarriage. So when I started to bleed, I was like, okay, this is like the Lord doing his work, and this child doesn't need to be brought into my home when they deserve a better parent than me. And then I went to the doctor on a Monday, October 26th, which is my dad's birthday, and they had told me that although my body was still saying I was pregnant, even I was almost 12 weeks at that point, that I had probably miscarried the baby at 6 weeks. So on my dad's birthday, this is the first birthday without him, right after we went to his tombstone, we went home and I bled and cried and hurt for 3 days straight, basically. And that put me in another really dark place. I've been having a hard time with my dad, obviously, but then once I had like that miscarriage, it just kind of like sent me into a spiral. I was never angry with God when my dad died. I know other people have had that, where I never felt angry with him. I just had a hard time like praying. Not because I didn't believe or anything. It's just, I don't know, I just like lacked that. And then I had my miscarriage, and then I was angry. I was like, okay, well, this year like sucks, and you just like keep giving me more and more reasons to hate this year. And I was angry. Like I had just a moment of pure anger at him. And I feel now that I'm in like it's been, 2 weeks since that's happened, I feel less that way. I feel better, but I'm still like struggling to get up. So I'm gonna just go to the doctor and just kind of see how I feel, because I'm not in a great place. And that was my other thing, is I'm not in a great place. So getting pregnant in the first place was scary. Losing it, I'm like frustrated. It's just a lot. And I'm sure for the best. I don't know. A little bit more fragile again, because it was just hard. It was coming to like the holiday season, which is, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas and stuff, and I'm still at this place where I didn't really want to be around people, because I felt like if anyone knew kind of the situation, that they probably thought less of me as a person. They thought the way I was thinking about myself in my head, that's exactly how they felt as well. I was already kind of struggling with that, and then to lose a child on my dad's birthday, that was just kind of, this is God's way of punishing me. Holidays were really hard for me to be around everyone. I just felt bad, and at this point wasn't talking to anyone really, wasn't really expressing my feelings at all. Every once in a while maybe talking to someone, but I was really keeping everything into myself.
I'm back. I just read this thing that someone posted about their brother passing away and the circumstances and everything, and they're very similar to like my dad. And they were like, oh, I felt comfort, like I feel that he's alive, that he's okay, and I know, and I felt him with me, and things like that. And you would think that would comfort me, but it like upsets me when I hear that stuff. And I used to never be, I was like, that's awesome, and I am happy for her, like, I'm glad that you're feeling that way, but like, I don't like that I don't feel that way. Like, I'm frustrated that I can't have that as well. I just want to have that peace, and I don't know what I can do.
There have been a couple of moments of me expressing like hurt. It was the beginning of this year, and the reactions I got from people responding to me with, you need to get over this because of your children, you need to be there for your kids, you need to not have like these dark thoughts. And I felt guilty for that, or people would be like, oh, I just don't want to talk about this, like whatever it may be, whenever I express my feelings, and them not really giving me any sort of conversation back. And so that kind of, again, in my own doing, and it's no one's fault, I had just decided like, this is, I'm not important. In no way do I think that was people's intentions of making me feel that way. I don't think that anyone would want to make me feel that way, but I did.
I'm conflicted. Do I say, yeah, I'm great? Or do I say, no, I'm really not good? Because I don't know. I've never known a response of my hurt being taken in and thought about and talked about. Obviously, I mean, that's maybe a little dramatic. Obviously, I've had moments where people like let me talk or whatever, so like I don't want to be dramatic. But I don't know, because when I ask people and say to people, you can talk to me, I truly mean that. With every fiber in my bones, I mean that. If someone needs to talk, you can tell me anything. You can tell me your deepest, darkest secret if you want, and I will keep that between you and me.
Again, this point, I'm feeling really terrible as who I am as a mom, because Christmas wasn't great. I felt bad for the lack of not getting my husband anything for Christmas, and not really getting my kids not getting much for Christmas, and that's like my love language is gift giving. And so the fact that I didn't really do much, I felt really bad and felt like these people deserve so much better than me. And again, decide like, this year is going to be my last year. You need to be brave. You need to do this to better their lives. Picked a day that I thought, okay, this will be the least detrimental. it will cause the least amount of pain. And I started planning on it and counting down the days, still taking care of my kids, being there for my kids. My relationships with anyone that I had wasn't really putting much effort into any relationship. Time was getting closer to the day that I had in mind, was even more so taking myself away. I didn't see anyone February. My son's birthday, I was not gonna have a big thing. I was gonna go do something with just my family, but we did something for his birthday. But I was like not really wanting to be around everyone. But I thought, for him, he deserves it, just because I don't want to, because it means he doesn't want to spend time with his cousins or whatever. And then I didn't talk to anyone at all. And then my birthday came up, and that day completely shut off. If I had any messages from anyone saying anything to me about like happy birthday or whatever, I would cry. And if anyone said like you're a great person, it made me feel worse. It made me feel like these people don't even know me. These people are trying to say nice things and kind things about me, but they don't even know me. Their kind words are so hurtful because they're so not true.
This year, as I get happy birthdays and I love you and you're so important to me, you're this great mom, you're this great this and that and this and that, I find myself avoiding getting told happy birthday. I'm avoiding reading happy birthdays. People say such sweet things, and I know they mean it to make me feel good, but they're just like not true. I just know like all those people that are like taking the time just to let me know happy birthday. I do nothing for them. And when I'm gone, it's gonna be fine. And they're not gonna be affected by me being gone. I don't affect anyone's life for the better. I do nothing.
During this time of me not really talking to anyone, I really started to think about my dad and think about kind of his mental state, where he was at and everything. Started to really draw a lot of connections that the way he was, I think I related to. Of course, like I don't know 100% and I will never know, and that's crushing. But looking back and thinking of the way he talked and the things he did, I feel like there was a lot of this insecurity and pain and hatred for himself that I feel towards myself, and that was something he did, but his way of going about it was a lot different. He kept his mind busy by working and doing things, or by drinking and numbing his mind. And also he talked himself up. He'd say nice things about himself, just to maybe get people to say things back to him, whereas I don't talk about myself. I make like a lot of self-deprecating jokes, truly like avoid talking about me. I let myself in my head a little too much, mope around more than he does to myself. There was a lot of like similarities found in me, in him, and this pain that I have felt for my entire life, from what I can remember, that I think he in some way could have related to. As I'm reflecting and I decided to film that video of my dad and just kind of think about it, I had a phone call from my sister, and I said, I just don't want to talk. I don't need anyone to ask me if I'm okay, because I'm not going to be able to hold it in. And I don't want to have a conversation about it because I don't want someone to make me feel like they don't care. So I'd rather not talk about it and keep it to myself than talk about it and feel like I'm wasting someone's time. But she was like, oh, I think you need to call my mom. And so I did. I called my mom, and then I cried to her, and I just said, here's the deal. I told her everything that I felt since I was a young girl. I told her how I was feeling about that. I told her that I have really dark thoughts, and I'm tired of people telling me that that's not okay, that I need to be better for my kids, that it wasn't my fault, that it was your dad, and or people crying and getting emotional over what I'm saying, because I understand that they're dark and they're hard to grasp, but I can't have someone reacting to that and then me feeling bad because I already know I'm not a good mom, and you saying you need to be better for your kids. It's like, I understand that I'm sucky. Thank you for justifying that thought in my mind. Even though they're not saying that, that's how my mind would process it. And then putting any blame on my dad was hurtful and hard for me. And this feeling of that no one's ever really cared about how I'm doing. And it's not like I need people to baby me. I don't want people to feel like they need to talk to me and see how I'm doing. If they don't care, like, truthfully, I'm okay with not talking about my feelings. I like stopped letting that happen because I had been hurt so many times before. And I think unknowingly hurt. I don't think people realized that they were hurting me. And I told this all to my mom. Again, it was like that situation with my husband. It was the first time that I felt like a relief and better. Shortly after that, I ended up losing my grandpa, my dad's dad, almost exactly a year after my dad. 11 days short of being a year. And my heart like hurt because I hurt for all my family, my grandma, my aunts and uncles, my cousins that I knew were really close to him. But I like felt kind of relieved that my dad wasn't going to be alone, and it was like the first time in so long that I felt like, okay, maybe there is something after. Because I felt like this, my dad's not alone, almost immediately. So when my dad's like anniversary came up, I was like surprisingly better than I thought I would be. And I think it was truthfully due to the loss of my grandpa and just knowing my dad had him with him for the first time in just for I don't know how long. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my chest. I feel better than I think I thought I would. And there's almost like a guilt with the amount of like how okay I do feel, because it's like so I on and off, and then I feel guilty, and I don't know, it's just I have way too many emotions sometimes. I think I have problems. I also did like make a video and just talk about him, and that I think helped comfort me slightly just to talk about it. I'm working through things. I still get in like dark modes, and I'm trying not to let myself, because again, after I filmed that video on my dad, I just recognized so much of myself in him and realized that although I'm so convinced that I'm just the extra on set, that doesn't affect the movie plot at all, but I was so severely affected by my dad, and I don't know if he thought that that would happen. And so I'm like pushing through with the thought of maybe it would affect my children as much as in my head, I feel like things would be better off. My life's not better off losing my dad. I'm aware of how like outrageous my thoughts are, and that it's not good, it's bad, and if anyone ever came to me with the thought that I have and the feelings that I have, I would be sick about it. I would feel terrible for them, even if I didn't have much of a relationship with them. I just don't think that people are worth that little. Like, I think everyone has something. Everyone is important in some manner, and I would never think that anyone is the person that I think I am. Although I have shut people out and I don't talk to people, in the moments that I have, those are the moments that kept me from making a decision that I could never take back. People will surprise you. I just want people not to feel the way I do. I want people that if they do feel the way I have felt, to know that they're not. And maybe in order to feel better, maybe you need to film a video for yourself. Just do whatever you think is gonna make you feel better, and go off of that voice that you hear. That's what saved me. A little voice telling me, go wake him up. A little voice telling me, answer the phone even though you don't want to be asked, are you okay? And that little voice telling me to film that video of my dad, I think that was more healing than I thought it would be for myself, and hopefully maybe for others. Take care of yourself and take care of those around you. Check up on those around you. Let people talk. Let people say things that are outrageous and scary and not make them feel bad. Because telling someone, oh, that's so wrong to feel that way. That's so wrong to talk like that. Telling someone negative things. They already got a lot of negative things going through their mind. Again, I don't know what necessarily the right thing is to do because everyone is different. Maybe some people do need the harsh love. I don't know. But I know a lot of people shut down once someone reacts with, just listen. Be that ear. And actually listen.